Good evening, night travelers. Welcome back to the Quiet Hour. I'm your host, speaking to you through the stillness of the night, whether you're winding down after a long day lying in bed searching for that peaceful moment before sleep finds you, or perhaps you ray on a journey of your own driving through empty highways, or watching city lights pass by your window. Thank you for choosing to spend this quiet time with us. If you're new here, welcome. The Quiet Hour is your companion in the calm hours of the night. We share stories that matter, reflections that resonate, and moments of peace in our increasingly restless world. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing and joining our growing community of night listeners. We're here every evening, creating a sanctuary of thoughtfulness just for you. Tonight, I want to share a story with you. It's about perception, about the assumptions we make, and about the hidden chapters in people's lives that we so rarely get to read. It takes place on a train, one of those moments in transit where strangers' lives briefly intersect, where we catch glimpses into someone else's world without truly understanding the whole picture. Picture this, a train carriage, ordinary and unremarkable. Passengers settling into their seats, some reading, others staring at phones, many simply watching the landscape roll by. Among them, a father and his son. The young man is 24 years old, an age where we expect a certain maturity, a certain composure. But this young man is different. His face is pressed against the window, and suddenly he shouts with pure, unfiltered joy, "Dad, Dad, look, the trees, they're moving. They're walking past us." His father smiles. It's a gentle smile, one filled with something deeper than amusement. But nearby, a young couple exchanges glances. You can imagine it, can't you? That look, that mixture of discomfort and pity. They see a 24-year-old man behaving like a child, and they judge. We all do it, don't we? We fill in the blanks of people's stories with our own assumptions. The young man isn't finished. Moments later, he exclaims again, his voice brimming with wonder. "Dad, the clouds, they're racing alongside us. Look how fast they're going." The couple can't contain themselves any longer. That familiar mixture of concern and condescension takes over. They lean toward the father and say, in that tone we've all heard, the one that pretends to be helpful but carries judgment, "Excuse me, sir, but have you considered taking your son to see a specialist? A psychiatrist, perhaps?" Now, if you're listening right now, maybe you're starting to form your own judgments. Maybe you're wondering where this story is going. Maybe you've already guessed. Or maybe you're still in that same space the couple was in, uncertain, uncomfortable, not quite understanding. The father looks at them. His smile doesn't fade. Instead, it deepens, carrying the weight of something profound. He says, quietly but clearly, "We've just come from the hospital. My son was born blind. Today was the first time he ever received donor eyes. These are his first hours of sight. He's seeing the world for the very first time." Let that sink in for a moment. Those trees weren't just trees. Those clouds weren't just clouds. They were miracles. They were the first trees, the first clouds this young man had ever seen in his entire life. His joy wasn't childish, it was the purest form of wonder that exists. He was experiencing what most of us stopped noticing years ago because it became too familiar, too ordinary. And that couple, they weren't cruel people. They were just human. They did what we all do, what I've done, what you've probably done. They looked at a situation, filled in the gaps with their own assumptions, and acted on incomplete information. This is the thing about human beings, friends. Every single person you encounter, whether it's someone on a train, someone in line at the grocery store, someone who cuts you off in traffic, someone whose behavior you don't understand, every single one of them is carrying a story you didn't know, a context you can't see, a history that explains everything about this present moment. That woman who seemed rude to you at the coffee shop, maybe she just got devastating news. That colleague who's been distant, maybe they're fighting battles you can't imagine. That stranger whose behavior seemed strange, maybe they're experiencing something miraculous. Something that would change your entire perspective if you only knew. We live in a world that encourages quick judgments. Social media teaches us to form opinions in seconds, to react before we understand, to fill in stories with our own narratives. but real life, the life that happens when we look up from our screens. When we really see each other, real life is infinitely more complex and beautiful than our assumptions can capture. So, tonight, as you're drifting off to sleep or watching the world pass by your window, I want to leave you with this gentle reminder: be slow to judge, be quick to wonder, be curious about the stories you don't know. Give people the grace you'd want them to give you on your hardest day. Because behind every face you see, there's a universe of experience. Behind every behavior you don't understand, there might be a miracle unfolding. And sometimes, what looks like foolishness is actually profound wisdom. What seems like weakness might be incredible strength. What appears ordinary might be someone's extraordinary moment. Thank you for spending this quiet hour with me tonight. If this story touched you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe to The Quiet Hour so we can continue these journeys together through the stillness of the night. Your presence here means more than you know. Until tomorrow night, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and remember, everyone you meet is carrying a story that could surprise you. Good night, travelers. May your rest be peaceful.